Just when it looked like the internet was about to explode with a massive celebrity bombshell, the source suddenly went silent, vanished, and changed the story overnight. At the same time, a decade-long legal nightmare finally cracks open on national television. Veterans push back against explosive claims, and the most emotional finale of the season crowns a surprise winner. This episode flips from suspense to shock to celebration, and you do not want to miss how it ends. The morning started with an unusual intensity, as if the universe knew that the headlines were about to take us on a roller coaster of drama, suspense, and revelation. And while many people were preparing for Thanksgiving Eve traffic, family gatherings, or just a quiet morning, the digital world was ablaze with speculation and uncertainty. And it began with the creator, who had amassed over 1 million followers, suddenly claiming to have explosive information that could potentially reshape public perception of one of Hollywood's most scrutinized couples. And the moment he made his post, the internet collectively leaned in, wondering what exactly could be so consequential that it required a journalist to mediate its release. And yet within hours, what appeared to be a bombshell evaporated into nothingness as accounts were banned, reinstated, and then banned again, leaving audiences to question whether there was substance behind the claims or if it was a carefully orchestrated attention cycle designed to maximize engagement. And even as the creator publicly stated he can no longer continue, he had done all he could and he was moving on, the mere fact that his statement left the story unresolved only added fuel to a fire that was already burning with curiosity. Because humans are drawn to the unknown, to gaps in information, to questions that promise revelations just out of reach. And this tension set the tone for the day, with speculation swirling faster than confirmation could ever arrive. And while social media buzzed, another narrative unfolded that carried significant emotional weight. A man whose life had been upended for years by false allegations finally had his story aired to a national audience. And what the public saw was not just drama, but years of personal struggle, stress, and consequences that impacted work, relationships, mental health, and personal security. As the details came to light, it was clear that the man and his family had endured a complex web of misinformation, legal proceedings, and social pressure that stretched over a decade. And while mainstream media had covered fragments of the story, the full narrative, including forensic verification of documents, time-stamped evidence, and corroborated witness accounts, painted a picture of resilience and long-delayed accountability. And as viewers absorbed the information, there was a mix of empathy, curiosity, and disbelief, because it is rare to see justice unfold so publicly and so methodically. Ranged from intense scrutiny to heartfelt support, the voices of experience, veterans, retired commanders, and enlisted personnel highlighted the importance of principle over popularity and the necessity to follow orders that are legal and ethical, while resisting those that are unlawful or unsafe. And this perspective drew a stark contrast to the performative outrage often seen online, and reminded audiences that not all stories can be reduced to memes, sound bites, or viral video clips. Because some stories require listening, reflecting, and understanding the deeper context behind statements, actions, and public service. And just when the audience began to absorb the weight of these unfolding narratives, a softer story emerged in the form of entertainment and competition. And it reminded viewers why the season of Dancing with the Stars continues to captivate audiences across the country. As the finalists approached the last performance, the suspense was tangible, the energy in the room palpable, and the connection between the performers and the audience created a shared emotional experience that contrasted sharply with the intensity of the day's news cycles. And as the final scores were tallied, the winner emerged not from scandal, controversy, or speculation, but through talent, perseverance, and charisma. And in that revelation, the audience felt the relief and satisfaction that only a long-awaited conclusion can provide. And this interplay between suspense and resolution, drama and celebration, created a rhythm that kept viewers engaged from start to finish, reinforcing why narrative tension paired with human emotion continues to be the strongest tool for retention in storytelling across media platforms. And as all of these stories unfolded simultaneously, viewers were treated to a kaleidoscope of human experience, from online speculation and social media mystery to emotional justice in courtrooms, from principled debates about service and morality to the unifying joy of a live performance conclusion. And the connections between these events revealed the interconnectedness of modern media and how every headline, every viral post, every legal update, and every performance is not isolated, but rather part of a larger conversation about truth, perception, responsibility, and entertainment. And as audiences navigated these multiple streams of information, they were prompted to question what is real, what is verified, and what is speculation. And this reflection on information consumption became even more critical in a landscape where attention is a currency and retention is a measure of influence, and where creators, both large and small, must carefully balance intrigue, suspense, and responsible reporting in order to build trust while also keeping viewers engaged. And as the morning progressed and social media algorithms pushed updates in real time, the stories converged in a way that was almost cinematic, creating tension arcs and resolution beats that mirrored a carefully scripted drama while remaining rooted in actual events and public discourse. And within this structure, the audience experienced highs and lows, from anticipation to shock, from empathy to celebration. And while the narratives were diverse in content, they shared a common thread of human response: curiosity, concern, admiration, and relief. And the key to understanding the audience reaction was to recognize that engagement is not just about the sensational, it is about context and consequence. And the day's events illustrated that perfectly, because each story, whether it involved an uncertain creator, a long-delayed legal resolution, a principled senator, or a beloved televised competition, offered multiple layers of intrigue and emotional resonance. And as viewers followed each development, we were prompted to think critically about the motivations of those involved, the evidence presented, the reactions of supporters and detractors, and the broader implications for society in each case. And this layering of narratives created a compounding effect that encouraged viewers to stay connected from the first post of the morning through court updates, social commentary, veteran perspectives, political reactions, and the evening finale of entertainment programming, because each story built on the tension of the previous story while also introducing new elements that sparked curiosity, questions, and emotional investment. And as the audience navigated these overlapping storylines, they became participants in a larger conversation about information credibility, accountability, ethical behavior, and human experience. And the result was an engagement loop that is highly desirable for modern content platforms, where viewer attention is measured in seconds, but retention is measured in hours. And as the loop continued, the day's unfolding stories reinforced the importance of pacing in narrative delivery, the value of suspense before revelation, and the emotional satisfaction that comes from resolution, even when resolution is partial or delayed. And through all of this, the audience was reminded that reality itself often contains more drama, more intrigue, more suspense, and more emotional complexity than fiction, and that the interplay between media presentation, social reaction, and real-world consequences creates a dynamic landscape that demands careful navigation, thoughtful commentary, and responsible reporting. And as the hours passed, each development fed the next with cross-platform amplification conversation, trending hashtags, shared clips, discussion threads, and real-time commentary, creating an ecosystem where audience curiosity drives content and content drives further engagement. And in that ecosystem, the original question posed by the creator claiming to have explosive information about a Hollywood couple remains unanswered, creating a tension that was both frustrating and magnetic. And this tension ensured that viewers would continue watching, sharing, and commenting even as alternative narratives emerged, alternative explanations were proposed, and additional context was revealed. And while some viewers felt let down by the absence of concrete revelations, others recognized the pattern of engagement itself as a form of media education, demonstrating the way information spreads, how narratives form, and how attention can be captured and maintained without resorting to unethical behavior or defamation. And as the day transitioned from morning chaos to midday reflection to evening celebration, the audience experienced a full spectrum of emotional engagement: curiosity, anxiety, empathy, shock, delight, and finally relief, all within the span of a single news cycle, demonstrating the power of pacing, narrative suspense, and strategic reveal in content creation, and why audiences return day after day, seeking the next revelation, the next twist, and the next emotionally resonant moment, because humans are hardwired to seek closure, curiosity, and emotional payoff. And that combination forms the foundation for modern media retention strategy. And as these stories continue to unfold, with new developments, legal updates, social commentary, and personal perspectives, the audience was positioned not just as passive observers, but as active participants, analyzing, discussing, predicting, and emotionally investing in outcomes, while content creators and journalists alike had to balance the desire for engagement with the responsibility of accuracy, verification, and ethical presentation. And in that balance, the most successful narratives emerged, delivering suspense, surprise, and emotional resonance in a manner that was not only compelling, but also compliant with content policies, monetization standards, and ad-friendly guidelines. And as the day closed, the loop of speculation, reflection, validation, and celebration reinforced the importance of building tension, maintaining suspense, and delivering satisfying payoffs, all while keeping content grounded in verifiable fact and responsible commentary. And this multi-layered engagement strategy created an environment where viewers could feel informed, entertained, and emotionally invested simultaneously, ensuring that attention metrics remained high, retention rates strong, and the overall content ecosystem healthy and sustainable for both creators and audiences. And that combination of suspense, curiosity, emotional resonance, and ethical reporting ultimately defines the gold standard for long-form digital storytelling in a world where viewers are constantly evaluating credibility, engagement, and emotional satisfaction. And as the stories of creators' legal battles, political debate, and televised competition intertwined, the audience witnessed a full spectrum of human response, providing insight, education, entertainment, and emotional connection that cannot be achieved through short-form content alone. And this complexity of narrative pacing, emotional layering, and suspenseful presentation demonstrates why audiences continue to return to platforms that can deliver these experiences reliably, consistently, and responsibly in a single comprehensive media journey. Today's whirlwind of stories reminds us how fast the world moves and how complex our relationship with information has become. From social media speculation that rises and vanishes in hours to long-running legal battles finally coming to light. The day has shown the full spectrum of human experience, from curiosity, shock, frustration, empathy, and ultimately relief. Audiences have witnessed the power of suspense, the tension of uncertainty, and the satisfaction of resolution, all within a single news cycle. And through it all, the lesson becomes clear. Attention alone is not enough. Engagement matters only when paired with responsible reporting, ethical commentary, and emotional resonance. The narratives we followed highlight the delicate balance between public fascination and personal consequence, between viral curiosity and verified fact, and between entertainment and real-world accountability. Viewers were not just passive consumers, but active participants in reflection, analysis, discussion, and emotional investment. And that participation created a dynamic ecosystem where information spreads, social context forms, and human response drives engagement. Ultimately, today reminds us that storytelling in the modern era is as much about pacing, suspense, and emotional connection as it is about facts, verification, and integrity. And as we move forward into the next set of headlines, audiences and creators alike are challenged to seek truth, respect context, and savor the moments of resolution, joy, and shared human experience that make following the news a journey, not just a report.